In this video, we're going to look through the Tier 1 charts. We're going to view what happened with Coinbase as the SEC unleashes another enforcement action. Then we're going to do a deep dive into the crypto market, looking at pretty much the top 100 to determine what's going on under the hood inside the engine of the crypto market. Stay tuned, it's going to be fantastic. Hi everyone, I'm Ken from Crypto Trading KS and the inventor of the CTKS method. If you're new, a very warm welcome and welcome back CTKS family. My goal is to assist you to become more of a financial and emotional blessing to yourself and those you love based on more than 30 years in financial markets. If you would like to know where smart money buys and sells, please subscribe. And please leave a like, it would be most appreciated. Let's run the numbers. The crypto market, after being shocked by Gary Gensler's enforcement action against Binance, decided to do what crypto does and bounce back. The SEC launched a civil action against Binance yesterday, which is around 136 pages. The SEC wasn't satisfied with that. It decided to go after Coinbase as well. Who will the SEC go after tomorrow? 10 hours ago, the US Securities and Exchange Commission filed against Coinbase. Senator Cynthia Lummis has a really good thing to say. The SEC has failed to provide a path for digital asset exchanges to register, and even worse, has failed to provide adequate legal guidance on what differentiates a security from a commodity. The SEC's continued reliance on regulation by enforcement continues to harm consumers. Real consumer protection requires creating a robust legal framework that exchanges can comply with, not pushing the industry offshore or into the shadows. Absolutely agree. The CEO of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, also came out. He said, "Remember, the SEC reviewed our business and allowed us to become a public company in 2021. That's when Coinbase did its IPO. Brian goes on to say, instead of publishing a clear rulebook, the SEC has taken a regulation by enforcement approach that is harming America. One thing to always remember, the SEC, Securities Exchange Commission, is all about, you guessed it, securities. If it does an enforcement action against any party, it's trying to prove or trying to assume securities are involved. If securities are not involved, the SEC has absolutely no jurisdiction. And whatever resulting court case comes, it will fail." Cameron Winklevoss said it really well. Being sued by the SEC used to mean you probably did something wrong. Now it means you're probably doing something right. Well done, Cameron. There's a big question mark over Chair Gensler. Chair Gensler didn't sue FTX, as CZ said. What is Gary Gensler, the chair of the SEC, actually doing? I think he's trying to celebrate the SEC's official 89th birthday by going after crypto and seeking to be remembered for it. It's a really stupid way of getting remembered for something. With FTX, there's been a lot of inquiries into Gary Gensler's very close nature with the founder of FTX and also Caroline Ellison. But as yet, nothing has been done about this. When FTX went down, it was regarded as one of the worst frauds in history, and it was perpetrated under Gary Gensler's watch. In more Binance.us news, breaking, the SEC just asked the court to freeze all of the assets in Binance US. It's very, very simple to move assets between exchanges. What I do personally, I convert anything that I want into USDT and then just transfer it to another exchange. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes at most. A lot of people think that taking out fiat currency, either US dollars or whatever your local currency, is the way to go. I don't believe that's the way to go at all. If you want to move masses of money, just put it into USDT. Done. The crypto market can get really, really volatile. You should be a member of at least 3 or 4 different exchanges. You do this to protect yourself. Of course, you don't need to if you don't want to, but I would suggest it. Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO at Ripple, has said a very good thing. If it wasn't already clear, it should be by now. Chair Gensler of the SEC's laughable pro-innovation stance, as he said clearly today, is exactly the opposite. What this also tells me is that the SEC is throwing lawsuits at the wall and hoping they distract from the agency's FTX debacle. Couldn't agree more, Brad. I've said many times before that the lawsuit against XRP Ripple, it needs to be won. By doing so, the SEC will be put in the ground. It will create a precedent that basically takes the rug out from underneath the SEC, a rug pull if you like, but in the right way. What we can see is that the SEC is not protecting everyday investors. A lot of people don't understand that crypto is simply the next evolution of the internet to the internet of value. That's why it's called Web 3.0. You might notice, you might do it personally. When was the last time you just had cash in your hand? Do you do the majority of your transactions digitally? That's just what crypto is. It's just digital money. In other breaking news, Sweden, happy National Day. Sweden has been an independent country for 500 years. And of course we give a damn. We love IKEA. We've witnessed a lot in the past 24 hours. We saw the SEC enforcement against Binance, which pushed Bitcoin down to a smart money safety net at around that particular 25,500 mark. And what happened next? We got SEC enforcement on Coinbase. But what did the market do? It said, "Pah, we're going up to the next SL." And Gary's, he celebrated the SEC's 89th birthday in style with 2 lawsuits. Bitcoin is currently 27,164. Looking at the S&P 500, which closed out at 42.83, we saw it come down to a smart money buy level at 42.69, and it's held that quite well. It's looking like it's getting a bit of positive air. There are numerous cutovers here. The market could anticipate upward price momentum. We saw that the VIX spiked somewhat yesterday, but couldn't hold on, and it's coming down. But to understand what's going on around here, we need to zoom in. The VIX closed at 1397, and when we look at this 1384 level, that's a very strong structural support level as given through that SL. This means that we would expect that the VIX would come down and gather support around here, just something to be aware of. Please let me know in the comments, what does that actually mean for markets? This is all part of the active learning. Active learning is critical if you want to get synchronized. In the previous trading session, we saw a huge drop off in the 10-year yield, and you can see the price is being reasonably supported around here. But what was price actually doing? To understand that, we must throw on the indicator. And things are now making a lot more sense. The US 10-year yield came through 2 very thick safety nets and rebounded. It's been holding on to that safety net at the current time, but there's negative price momentum. But just bear in mind, there's a lot of support here. If you're a monthly member of the CTKS Method service, you get all of these indicators just included in the price. There's no extra charge. But I would like to let you know the best way to actually put these indicators in is to have, for example, the DXY and the DXY indicator, and just save that as its own new chart. You just have new charts for each of the indicators. You can do it in the free version as well, but then you have to just pair up the indicators to what you're looking at. When yields got crushed in yesterday's session, we also saw the DXY getting crushed as well. But one thing we know about safety nets, when they're really strong, they will rebound price. And that's why we need to look at them. Understanding where the safety nets are is very, very important. All markets are volatile. We can see that the DXY is under a bit of negative price momentum. It's likely to fall down here, but don't forget, its current price 104.128. There's reasonable support around that 104.049 mark and the 104.007. But also down here in this particular area from 103.848 down to 103.794. The DXY has quite some support at the moment. Please be aware of that. Knowing the internal market structure of what you're trading or investing in is vitally important. If you don't know where the safety nets are, you don't know where the ceilings are. Both of those things, that lack of knowledge, will get you desynchronized. Desynchronization means that you're paying the market money. Synchronization means the market is paying you. Let's pop on the indicator and see what gold is doing. We can see that gold in the previous session, before yields and the DXY spiked down, gold spiked up because it was coming into a lot of support and then it rallied. But where did it stop? And this is why it's so important to know where the ceilings are. It stopped around that 1961 level, and it reconfirmed this particular 1954 level. It's seeking to get above. This is very, very positive for gold. There's a beautiful law of price. Price moves from SL to SL. You see it all the time. SL to SL, SL to SL. If it's not coming down, it's going up. And what do we see here? The current price of gold, 163, is probably making its way up to this 172.93 area. It may come back and test support at 1961. So just be really aware of these particular levels. And the beautiful thing with the CTKS method service, you can get this exact indicator and put it on gold and just look at it in your own time. Look at as I look at it. And I also do videos inside the CTKS method service. The service is about levels. The masterclass is about knowledge. The two are completely different. If you're trading US oil, one thing that you notice as the yields were doing their thing, the DXY and gold, what you saw was negative price momentum in oil. But where were the safety nets and where were the ceilings? Turning on the CTKS method service indicator for US oil, you saw oil currently trading at 71.66, but as price was coming down, we lost this particular SL at around the 72.45 mark. Where was it going? If it's going down, it's going to the next SL, which was 71.08. If it's going down further, it's going down to SLs. But always note the power of a specific SL. SL is a Stanfield level. That's the only way that you can see market structure. And the only way you can get an SL is through the CTKS method. And you can learn the method yourself and mark up any chart you want. How do you learn? You just go to ctksmethod.org, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see level 1 and level 2 certification. And you can just go in and view what the content is of level 1 and level 2. It's an investment in yourself, and that pays the greatest dividends always. When you learn the CTKS method, you can apply it to any price chart. There's quite a bit of knowledge that you will come across in level 1 certification. Level 2 certification builds on level 1 certification. To draw these lines, you may think it's really, really easy, but there's much more to it than that. It is quite an involved process. That's why the service was started, because it can take a long time to mark up a chart and do it correctly and accurately. Also, to maintain them is a lot of work. But if you've got a particular thing that you're trading and investing in, it's worth it to know where the safety nets are, where the ceilings are, will save you and make you a ton of money. For example, if you were trading the DXY and you knew where this smart money buy level was, this particular safety net, it's a very, very valuable thing to know. Can you imagine just looking at the DXY like this? You just don't really know where the market structure is. And how is the CTKS method different from other things? We mark up price action from the beginning, the commencement of price history. You can see the same thing with US oil. If you were witnessing US oil lose its support, of course you need to know where is the strong support inside the market. If you don't know, you don't know. And if you don't know, you're going to get desynchronized. The money will be taken by the market. But if you're synchronized, you take money from the market. It's that simple. The market always pays you, or always is paid by you. We are never in conflict or competition with other people. We're in conflict and competition with our own synchronization, which means our knowledge levels. Remember, the CTKS method applies to any price chart. When we look at junk bonds, and junk bonds is a very risk on or risk off indicator. This indicates risk off, but this indicates risk is back on the table. But again, where is the smart money buying and selling? The only way that you can tell is to turn on the indicator. And what we see with junk bonds at 91.46 currently, we see this very, very strong magnetized level at 91.33. And look at this lower level, 91.08. When price of junk bonds went down to this 91.08 level, look what it did. It pinged back to the 91.33. Junk bonds, risk on, is saying the risk is coming back into the market, which means that people are getting more optimistic. If you were trading the NASDAQ, as the NASDAQ was just dropping down and down and down, say you couldn't see the right-hand side of this particular screen, what you would need to know, where is smart money buying and selling? Look at these very, very strong lines at 13.258 and also at 13.205. You can see these two structural support lines when price was coming down were very, very important to keep the NASDAQ up. With this kind of information at your fingertips, and you can do it yourself if you learn the methodology, you're ahead of 95% of people. Now let's have a look at the crypto market. What we're seeking to understand here, and we know there's a lot of rules that come with investing and trading, and one of the most important in the crypto market, no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. As Bitcoin was coming down, what did the alts do? Of course they came down. As Bitcoin was going up, what did the alts do? They went up. What we're actually noticing here is Ethereum is weaker than Bitcoin, BNB weaker than Bitcoin, XRP weaker than Bitcoin, ADA weaker than Bitcoin, Doge is actually stronger than Bitcoin, Solana weaker, Matic substantially weaker. What does this tell us? How do we get synchronized in with this? What we're actually seeing is a flight to safety from the alts into Bitcoin. But just notice that power on Doge, very impressive. Looking to the next state, and we're seeking inverters or overextenders in this particular analysis. Look at Tron, very, very suppressed relative to Bitcoin's performance. Litecoin just moving with Bitcoin, but weaker. DOT, weaker. AVAX, nearly on par with Bitcoin. Go AVAX. SHIB, weaker. Atom, weaker. Link, weaker. Uni, weaker. What does this actually mean? It means that if you put your money in Bitcoin, it would outperform just about everything else except for Doge in terms of these 16 that we've looked at so far. And when it comes to Doge, it's just moderately outperforming Bitcoin. Let's push on deeper. What about XMR? We can see XMR, Monero, is weaker than Bitcoin's gravity. What about Ethereum Classic? It's weaker. What about Stellar, XLM? Weaker. Bitcoin Cash? Weaker. LDO? Weaker. ICP? Weaker. Lot weaker. Filecoin, a lot weaker. Aptos, a lot weaker. What are we seeing? We're seeing a flight to safety. Money is transferring out of the alts into Bitcoin. And by doing so, it's actually raising the alts as well. Because we know no alt escapes Bitcoin's gravity. It's a very, very powerful rule. Let's look a little bit more deeply. HBAR, weaker. Arbitrum, ARB, weaker. Quant, weaker, but not by much. Quant could be looking quite interesting there. What about NEAR? Weaker. VET is weaker. Ooh, Ape is aping it. It's a lot stronger. Go Ape. What about the graph? Well, the graph is weaker. Algo is also weaker. Just make a note that some of these cryptos are named in the SEC lawsuit against Binance. What about SAND? It's weaker. EOS is stronger. Ooh, not too many stronger, but EOS is one of them. What about OP? OP is just going crazy. It's bananas. It's double Bitcoin. That is good. This is the kind of strength that you want to get involved with. What about RPL? RPL, weaker. EGLD, weaker. ARVE, weaker. Render, RNDR, just a little bit stronger. Could be one to watch. Mana, weaker. In times like this, you always want to back strength. Strength is very, very important. What about Phantom? Pretty much on par. Well done, Phantom. What about Tezos? What's Tezos up to? Well, it's weaker. Stacks, STX is looking really good. It's stacking on the returns at the moment. Theta, weaker. Axie, weaker. And don't forget, Axie was named in that SEC lawsuit as well. What about Flow? Weaker. Conflux, CFX, stronger. The strong ones are where we want to put our attention at times like this. IMX, weaker. Let's have a look. Neo is weaker. Chiliz is really weak. Curve is really weak. Maker, really weak. Carver, exceedingly strong. Well done, Carver. Synthetics, SNX, weaker. What about Injective Protocol? Just a little bit weaker. Not substantially, just a little bit. And what about Lunacy? Wow, Lunacy is going lunaticking. It's just literally stronger. It's doing well. Clay is weaker. IOTA, weaker. What about PaxG? Currently stronger. Sui, weaker. Substantially weaker. That is really, really weak. Also, taking a note of what's really, really weak is good to put on your radar as well. GMX is weaker. Mina, weaker. Pepe is starting to get strong. What a crazy token Pepe is, by all accounts. FXS. And if you like Pepe, go for it, but it's a volatile little animal. Fracshare, FXS is weaker. TWT, weaker. Woo Network starting to align itself. What about Rune? Just a little bit under. Nexo, under. Mask, weaker. LRC, considerably weaker. Zilliqa, weaker. And Cake, weaker as well. DYDX, showing a little bit of strength here. Nice. What about AGIX, the AI play? Just a bit weaker at the moment. Engine Coin, just a little weaker, just a little bit, nearly there. CVX, weaker. Rose is stronger. Oh, I've got double Rose. That indeed is easy to fix. Now we're back on track. What about BAT, Basic Attention Token? It's not got much attention at the moment. Poor old BAT. Ethereum Name Service is weaker. And what about HOT, which is feeling a little bit hollow, is just moderately weaker. It's not surprising that we're seeing a flight to safety into Bitcoin at the current time. But don't forget, if the flight to safety continues, people's confidence will increase and the alts will start to skyrocket. But it's critical to always understand your 3D risk management. Prices can move down, neutral, or up, and can do all three in one day. We are a global family born of fire. 2 years ago, this channel was created when the Bitcoin and crypto markets were melting down. We are an incredibly strong community and we love the red days. That's where we were born. The concept is always understand, just do everything you can to focus on your synchronization. Synchronization is literally everything inside financial markets. For all the members who signed up to the CTKS Method service, you should have the Tier 1 indicators as well as BNB. What we noticed with BNB yesterday, when it cut through all this overhead, well, it was support when price was above it, but now it's overhead resistance. It's going to be troubling for Binance Coin to get through all of this resistance. We do know that Bitcoin controls the fate of all the alts. If Bitcoin grinds higher, BNB will do so as well. But the percentage rate differential on how one does it and the other does it will be different. You might say, Ken, that was a really confusing thing to say. Well, I can just make it really simple. The concept is there's a lot of overhead resistance in BNB's price right around here. That's why the suppression in price is being reflected in BNB relative to Bitcoin. That's what it means. In the CTKS Method service, you get these indicators. For the current month, the Tier 1s have been done. The S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the VIX, the DXY, Bitcoin, gold, US oil, junk bonds, the US 10-year. You do not have to have a paid account on TradingView. You can just grab one of the free ones. BNB was released yesterday because of the news with BNB. More of the Tier 2s will be released today as well. The most important thing that you can ever do inside financial markets is to learn how things work. Learn the correct rules. There are correct rules and there are incorrect rules. The correct rules will help you to become more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love. The incorrect rules are mainly fear-based. Active learning is the key. Please let me know what thing new what new thing did you learn today? I'd like to give a very warm shout out to our wonderful global family. You're just amazing people. It's just an honor to know you. As a community, we understand that positive excellence is the focus. Why is that the case? Because without self-mastery, wealth disappears. Self-mastery is positive excellence. A lack of self-mastery is negative excellence. The primary difference between negative and positive excellence, which are terms that I developed, are really fear and courage. Everything red here is fear-based. Everything green here in positive excellence is courage-based. We know that we all get pullbacks in life, just like in the markets. How you handle the pullbacks is the key. The markets went blood red yesterday. There was a lot of panic. Please let me know in the comments, did you panic or were you courageous? Please let me know how many of you applied Rule 621, buy on red, sell on green. Please let me know in the comments. If you're going through a life pullback at the moment, please know that you're gaining strength and support for your next life rally. Don't focus on the fact that you're going through a turbulent time. When we deal with sickness, we have loss of loved ones, separation from family. All sorts of things can happen, but focus on the fact that you're gaining strength. You're not being diverted from life. You're being redirected to your purpose. You're being literally set up for your next life rally. The diversions, the resistance, the setbacks, they will always come. They're just normal. Don't worry about it. When you get one, just say, what strength am I getting now? And if you're going through a life pullback at the moment, our thoughts and love are with you, and our prayers for your strength to increase are also there. That's the most important thing that you can ever do. Just get stronger and kinder as well. It's helpful to know that the universe wants you to succeed. The world just conspires to make you happy if you're open to it. How do you get open to it? Just show kindness, integrity, and gratitude, and people will reflect that back to you. People are fundamentally good. If you're going through a life pullback, know that you're getting strength for the next life rally. Always be dedicated and committed. Have the concept, I win or learn, and never blame. Blaming stops learning. That's why we shouldn't blame. And please don't feel guilty either. Feeling guilty is blaming yourself. Anger is blaming others. Please don't do either. Just learn through it. We can always do better the next time. Have a great day or night ahead, my friends, and Kate and I look forward to catching up with you again tomorrow. Bye for now.